somebody will come and say 1.5 crores. Okay. In Bandra West, I have an option. 350 square feet.
Ouch. Okay. Why is real estate so important for pretty much all of us?
Pride. Okay. Status. मेरे पास खुद का घर है.
25-year-old who's not from Bombay, who's coming for the very first time for his career, rent versus buy, your views.
Your idea should be simple. Rent, compromise on everything else except a location.
Location. You said close to your office. Define close.
Why an office exists? Because it's not just about the real estate. It's about the ecosystem. Rent versus buy, actually, we reach that stage where it's rent before buy.
Hello everyone and welcome to Mind Your Karza with One Finance, a show where we help you understand and improve your relationship with debt products such as loans, credit cards and much more. On today's episode, we talk about the real estate market. We continue our journey there with Vishal Bhargava, a real estate analyst, enthusiast, specialist and a lot of things. Vishal closely tracks the real estate market and I'm sure that his insights will be very useful to us. Vishal, welcome to the show. Thank you for doing this for us.
Thank you, Anupam. Glad to be here.
Yeah, let's just start on the background that we were just discussing. You're among the few guys that I know who specializes in the space with a passion. I mean, we've met people who track the stock markets and all that, but real estate is something that I don't find too many people saying that I'm really passionate about it. Tell us about your journey.
So, Anupam, I started in real estate because I was looking to buy a home almost about 15 years back. And at that point, when you were serving lots of information, you saw lots of data, but no information. So to get perspective on real estate, you had to go really deep. So during that journey, I would have, I've lost count, but I think it'll be somewhere between 300 to 500 projects.
In Bombay?
In Bombay.
Wow. 2009?
2009 to 2011 period.
A time when it was supposedly at the bottom or things weren't going out really good. Wonderful. Okay.
And at that time, the mandate for me was, I was thinking to buy it, not with an idea that I want to be living. So the whole Mumbai in a way was open to me. Unlike most people who say, I'm looking at particular locality, I look at only those locations. So during that journey, that became like my educational ground. That became my university. You'll get information from one location about another location, the pros, cons. So anybody, I think, getting into real estate, if you can do that education, that will turn out to be the most worthwhile education. And from there, that time I was in a job, then I went into other fields and corporate strategy. When I left that, that's when I had the time to see whether this can be done full time. And that's how it shaped up.
Yeah, I mean, they say roti, kapda or makan. Makan is one of those four essentials. But, here we are in 2024. You started this journey in 2009. Why is real estate so important for pretty much all of us?
Like you said, Anupam, it's roti, kapda, makan. Everybody has that desire to own a home. Mera ghar. Now, whether it's valid, invalid is a separate thing. It's an emotional thing, so it can't be quantified. Because of that, invariably, whenever somebody makes a good amount of money, you tend to deploy it in real estate. To upgrading your home, if you're on a 1 BHK, you want to go to 2 BHK, 3 BHK, wherever. Because of that, real estate becomes such a big foundation. Wealth-wise, if we look at just the storage of real estate in India, value of all homes in Mumbai, it's $1 trillion.
That's an actual number?
Actual number.
Wow. Just Bombay. $1 trillion.
$1 trillion. Okay. Now, Bombay's GDP is 300 billion. So it's about 3x. This parallel, if you look at it, 3x, it's pretty much there in most of the cities which are very vibrant. So you go to London, Singapore, New York, the value of their real estate will be typically 3 times their GDP. So it needs to be protected. It needs to be nurtured. So this is an industry that, if you look at it, it'll never get obsolete.
Yeah.
Many disruptions will happen. For housing, maybe the way of construction will change. But as an industry, it will always remain.
So let's get into the hot topic, okay, which on which, I don't know, countless reels and YouTube shorts and God knows what all has been done. It's something that you've covered yourself in your own show, which is literally called The Tenant, right? Yeah. Rent versus buy, your views. Let's look at it as, what do people get wrong? Or what do people get right? Whatever.
See, rent versus buy, actually, I've come around to the view, Anupam, that while these reels show data and all, some of it is just plain wrong. Okay. Especially the guys who bat for rent. Okay. my learning after talking to many tenants and many buyers is just two lines. That the loudest proponents of renting a home are the ones who can't afford to buy a home. At the same time, the loudest proponents of owning a home are the ones who have already bought a home. So they have that thing, ki boss, I have taken it, now you should also take it. Okay. Most of them, I think they regret it to an extent that did I buy right? Did I buy the right project, right time, right builder, whatever. The key, I think, is it's rent before buying. Which is, if you just go to buy, if you just go to rent, the quantitative part is simple. Rental yield is 2.5%, mortgage is 8%. It's a no-brainer. Okay. Yet, like we discussed, even the smartest people want to own a home. That's because they want security. I think the right formula is actually rent before buying. You rent at the place where you want to actually buy. Because then you get a taste of the location, the surrounding, the gentry. And right now you can do that versus earlier because earlier it was just a standalone building. Kuch option nahi tha. Now it's a gated community of 20 buildings. You will go and stay in the first building. By the time you can afford it, the fifth building has come up. You go and buy over there. So I think rent versus buy debate has to now, I think we reach that stage where it's rent before buying. I think that's the right play.
So, I want to now break this down into, let's say, three categories of people, all for whom there's rent versus buy decisions. Let's start with a 25-year-old who's not from Bombay, who's come here for the very first time for his career. He's got a job. This is the first time that he's in the city. What's your advice to him? And here, when I say, I mean location, rentals, or anything else that this person should keep in mind before he decides to rent or buy a house. What would you tell him?
See, for a 25-year-old, definitely don't look to buy a house. Okay. Not that I'm sure most people will not be capable also, but even if you are, I think you can resist it. At that age, the idea is for most people, you start to build a corpus. You compromise on everything, okay, except your location. Because you're 25, you're young, you can be flexible in the quality of your household, okay? But don't compromise on location in a city like Mumbai, where commute takes a lot of time, okay? So stay in a small place.
In a good area. Which is close to your office, right?
Stay in an area which is close to your office. Stay in an apartment which is small, standalone building. Use that money to build a corpus, which you can do it after 7, 8, 10 years. Don't do the mistake of buying a 25-year-old, then getting bound to it because you aren't even sure whether you'll be in Bombay. And once you get that EMI pressure, most people tend to be professionally very vulnerable. You can't take risks. You can't take bets. So at that stage, your idea should be simple. Rent, compromise on everything else except a location.
Yeah. Location. You said close to your office. Define close because this is Bombay. And the kind of infrastructure development we've seen in the last few years, even something that's 10 kilometers looks like it's 50 kilometers. Yeah, I go from Bandra West to BKC, I feel I'm going to Pune. It's that bad. So I just want you to specify what is close.
So, okay. Firstly, Bandra West to BKC, I totally sympathize given the type of mad construction that's going on. I think it has to be a combination of what mode of transport do you use. If you're doing Bandra West to BKC, your chances are you have to use a car or an auto or road. But if you are going, say, you're staying in Andheri West, okay? People like that lifestyle. Your office is Andheri East. You have a metro. You have to choose a location which is close to a metro station.
Oh, yeah.
Or close to a railway station. So choose your location based on what mode of transport you can take and afford. I've seen, in fact, in many cases, people who are willing to take the bullet and stay right at one corner of Andheri West, Versova type areas, but they'll come all the way to Ghatkopar.
Wow.
Because their view is simple. The travel is convenient. Metro allows you that. In a railway station, you try to do that, you'll get rogered.
Yeah, obviously. I'm sure that this discussion will change 5 years down the line when more metro lines come up.
Exactly.
Okay, same guy 10 years later. Now he's 35, married, kids, etc. Let's say that he's buying his very first home. He's built the corpus, like you said, right? And he's just ready to jump into it. Obviously, at 35, you've got a good salary, you'll get a good loan. So the financial part is sorted. He helped this guy with how to actually choose a good project with family. I guess now I'm assuming, and help me here, that location now becomes a little bit, maybe not in your top two choices. Okay. What would you tell him?
So, I will say the reverse what I said for the 25-year-old. I will say for the 25-year-old, compromise on everything else except the location. For the 35-year-old, don't compromise on anything. Okay? Except your location. Because at that stage, you are thinking more about your lifestyle for your family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You don't mind doing the commute yourself. Okay? So, what's the right location? Choose firstly a location which you have already narrowed, you like, you're comfortable. Don't choose a apartment which is too small. Most people go wrong in that because they buy a home based on ticket size. Mera budget hai 1.5 crore. Somebody will come and say 1.5 crores, okay. In Bandra West, I have an option. 350 square feet.
Ouch. Okay.
He can buy a house.
The way real estate ads come out these days, they'll make it into a 2 BHK or something. I don't know.
No, so there's already a 2 BHK of 330 square feet.
Come on, who does that? Please, seriously.
So
You're serious?
Yeah, there are those of 330 square feet at Worli.
Okay, please go on. Yeah.
So you have to be very careful that you choose your location. You choose your builder. Okay. So the way I have to stream it down is choose location, choose builder, choose house. Okay. Location you have sorted. I want to be in this location because I'm comfortable. My kid's school is there, metro connectivity is there, etc. Then choose in that location who's the builder. In this part is where I think most people get a bit carried away by the discounts. The gap between a grade A and a grade C builder in terms of skill sets will be almost 100%. Price will be lower 30%. But because Mumbai is such an unaffordable market, you say, you know what? I'll take a bet on this guy. He's 60 lakhs lower. So you have to be very careful the builder you choose. I will recommend people going in for a reputed builder, early stage under construction, than a builder who's not known but who's doing late stage construction.
Very interesting. So I'm going to hold you there. A reputed builder under construction versus shady builder ready to move in. Go for the first.
Yes. See, a shady builder, even if you... Okay, one is the thought, मुझे घर चाहिए. Shady builder ने आपको घर दे दिया. But there is a very high likelihood that building will start giving away in 5 years, 7 years. Because a builder's mindset is actually, it's pretty straightforward. He's looking at you as a transaction. Okay? And in this transaction, you have to view yourself and the builder like in a seesaw. You have leverage with him only until you made the first purchase.
After that, you're done.
The moment after that, he's sitting on the top side of the seesaw, you're at the bottom. Because you have more skin in the game than him. So, early stage, go with the guy who's a reputed guy. Shady builder, try to avoid.
Avoid completely. Yeah.
Unless it's really in your budget, you think, boss, you have to just worry that the building does not collapse in 5-7 years. Okay. It's not impossible.
Yeah. So you spoke about disruption. Let's talk about that, right? Because in the last 4-5 years, the biggest disruption that everybody in the world, not just India, had was COVID. And real estate was among the markets that was severely impacted by that. Whether it is work from home, lockdown stuff and all that. What are your observations now that it's been 4 years since we've been past the lockdown phase?
So see, one thing is clear that we are back to normal. And I think we are back to normal faster than most people expected. I think many people had a call that work from home will be there. It'll last longer. We'll transition to hybrid and then to the full old pre-COVID days. I think that's happened a lot faster. I think commercial rates are pretty representative of that. You're seeing commercial rental rates go back to pre-COVID, in some cases be higher. Absorption is still not reached there, but I think it's just a matter of time that happens. I think work from home, people underestimate the importance of an office. Okay, I remember reading one article in The Economist during peak COVID. Very well written article, where they said that why an office exists. Because it's not just about the real estate. It's about the ecosystem, your productivity. And I think in most markets, labor management, labor monitoring is very important. Work from home does not allow you that. So it had to happen. It's happened sooner. Rates are showing that. More actually in residential than in commercial. But I think it's a good symbol as to where we are now.
I want to talk about these, the rentals that you speak about. And I want to start with residential and then we'll speak about commercial. One thing that a lot of people don't get is that, and we'll talk about Bombay only, when you've got rental yields that are so low, okay, 2%, 3%, I don't think it's been more than that. Why do people even invest in a real estate? I mean, in a house, what drives them? So I want two answers here from you. One, why is it low? Is it an optical illusion or is it linked to some interest rate? First. And second, despite it being so low, why do reasonably rich people, okay, who are sensible enough, still deploy tons of money there?
So, okay, I think that's a eternal question that I think most people will find it tough to answer. See, it's low is because, firstly, it being low is not only in Mumbai. Look at most of the top markets, the most expensive markets, Bombay, Hong Kong, New York, all of them hover between 2 to 3%. Okay. The markets where it's typically higher is because there's some googly attached to it. Okay. Say an example like Jakarta. There you'll have 6 to 7%. But there the reason is most people have a tendency to buy over there. Okay. Because rental deals people have to pay 12 months in advance. That anyway hurts affordability, which are easy markets to get in and out of because the type of vibrancy that's there in Mumbai. Everybody wants a piece of Mumbai. We keep thinking that based on Mumbai's per capita, $3,000, should rates be that high? Now, that's an optical part, okay? Because rates aren't high everywhere. Benchmarks get held up because of the highlighted deals. You know?
Yeah.
1 lakh rupees, 1.5 lakh rupees per square feet. But that's a very, very, very tiny sliver. Why do people look to invest? I think just emotion. I think human beings are conditioned that they want security. One of those parts of security is having your own home. So they will know it's 2%, 3%. I don't think most intelligent people even expect a price rise. Okay. But this is my own home. I feel secure. There's no risk. One is the attachment, one is the security. Third is to an extent pride. Okay. Status. मेरे पास खुद का घर है. That's mainly there at the lower and middle class. Middle and upper class, it becomes security. At top class, it's that symbol. I'm there.
You spoke about capital appreciation. What about that? What have trends been telling you? And I'm talking about, you spoke about 2009. That's 15 years. Bombay's real estate, of course, goes much beyond that also. Any insights that we can get from the trends that Bombay has seen? Because with Bombay, and also a lot of other cities, supply has always been an issue, right? So can you just talk about that for a while with us?
See, Mumbai's rise in real estate prices was because of a big supply shortage. We saw that boom in the mid-2000s. Big supply shortage, prices went up. Invariably, wherever supply comes, prices start to get hurt. Biggest representative of that in Mumbai is like Lower Parel. We got a lot of supply at one place. We incentivized it with even greater FSI. At Lower Parel, if anybody is there, he always looks at those big public parking lots, right? The builders got extra FSI for the public parking lot. They built higher. The problem with building higher invariably is that it tends to hurt prices. And it tends to hurt your costs. Both are a double whammy. My costs are high to go up. At the same time, I can't charge that similar higher price to a customer. I think we are now in that zone where Mumbai is getting Lower Parelized. Okay. Because the reason why earlier it was only Lower Parel is because every other belt of Mumbai was already developed. Their only source was redevelopment. And redevelopment was broken. Since 2021, it's become the other way around. Lower Parel, nothing is there. Everywhere else, redevelopment is. So we are at that critical juncture now where all of Mumbai has got Lower Parelized after 10 years of low operation.
Yeah, the numbers are staggering in terms of redevelopment, right? From what I recall last, I think just the western suburbs, which is where they started, Bandra, Khar, Santa Cruz, 700 was the last number that I heard. Do you have anything updated out there?
No. So now in Mumbai, if we just look at all Mumbai, it will be over 10,000.
Of redevelopment projects happening as we speak. Wow. So no one's concerned about the supply that might come in and...
So I think, so this is where I think part of the challenge of most developers is, and I think sometimes you get so cynical that you don't want to take a step. And I think that's what happened to most developers in the 2018 to 2021. But the problem with that is, most times people's emotions swing. Then a lot of things recovered. And that FOMO, people thought, it's my time, I waited so long, let me get in. And people have gotten in. We are now at that stage where most people have gotten in and they're realizing, did I do it right? Sure. So that's where the part I mentioned that they've entered, you can't exit now. This is not those days like earlier where I could just go away and people will accept it. Now there are regulations, a lot of pressure from different angles, so you can't do that.
It's an organized market.
It's an organized market now.
Yeah. Vishal, a home loan, okay, because our series is about home loan, is a very important product for people who don't have access to the kind of money it takes to buy a real estate, whether it's a house or whether it's, anything else. So what's your view on home loan as a product? Okay, and what should our listeners out there be careful about?
See, home loan actually, Anupam, is a deal maker. If you look at for 80% of the housing market, without home loans, the transaction will not go through. Which is the reason why when rates go up, many people when they think rates have gone up by 1%, why should it hurt the market? EMI barely goes up. It's not the EMI that's hurting. It's my eligibility to get that size of a loan to buy the house.
Wow, okay.
So earlier my eligibility was to take a 80 lakh loan. Now because rates have gone up, now I can take only a 65 lakh loan, because of which I can't buy the house. So home loans play a very important role. In that, people have to be careful as, in times, given the type of history we've had with our lenders, be very selective on who you take a loan from. Okay. Within this sphere, the recent proliferation of these subvention schemes. Subvention scheme is simple. The builder is telling you, ki, boss, you are worried about paying EMI and rent at the same time if you're buying under construction. Subvention pay, you don't have to pay your pre-EMI till completion. So you're paying only rent. The problem with those sort of schemes is that if the builder puts his hand up in terms of paying that EMI on your behalf, the bank holds you liable.
Obviously, yeah. Okay. They've given you the loan.
So it's a tripartite agreement where most times buyers think, I'm sorted. I don't have to pay EMI till completion. Once it's complete, I'll pay the EMI, rent is off. In most cases, the builders who offer subvention, and the lenders who participate in it, they screw up. The buyer is stuck paying the rent and a very high EMI because the guy has paid the construction amount. So home loan, interesting, very important, but within that, be very careful of these sort of home loan schemes.
Yeah, I want to go deeper out here, right? Because almost every project now comes with some kind of 1080, 10, 95, 5, I've lost track, okay? I think somewhere in the middle, the regulator or somebody, I'm not sure who, whether it was RERA, whether it was the government or whether it was RBI, kind of put a stop and said, listen, you got to just calm down now. Just help our listeners understand how this 595 or 1090 typically works and look at it as a consumer of a home loan. Like, I have a house, I have a bank, this guy's giving me a house, this guy's giving me a loan. Now, what happens next? How does this entire process work?
Okay. So within this sphere, I think you mentioned the government bodies, I think, stepped in, which is a very wise call. Earlier, what was the simple thing? Anupam goes to buy a home worth 2 crores. The builder has a deal with Bank A. He will disperse 80% of the amount without the construction being done to the builder, because the builder and the lender will have their arrangement. Okay. But construction has not happened.
So I'm supposed to pay the interest on that loan even though I've...
Yes. Wow. If things go wrong.
Okay.
So step by step, what's the deal? Anupam goes to buy a 2 crore home. Okay. Out of that, 1.5 crores is the loan amount, of which 1 crore has been disbursed to the builder on day 1.
Wow. Okay.
Now things get stuck. He's not constructed.
Correct.
But 1 crore has been given. The bank says, boss, you have to pay. You say, boss, why did you disburse so much money? Then the RBI came and said, you can disburse only as per construction linked. Then it became a bit more sane.
Sure.
Okay. But within this came these sort of schemes, 595, 1090. There is one going on which is pay 2% and rest of possession. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Now, the model for the builders is that he wants to show the lender, I've got so many sales. Because people will start saying 5%, no big deal. 5% here, registration, baat khatam. What people have to be careful on this is that always remember in these schemes, if things go wrong, the liability is at your door. Okay. So 595 sounds very attractive. The only time you have to do it is where if a lender is not involved. You are not signing over there.
Okay.
You have paid 5%, rest 95% is on possession.
Okay.
There is no bank involvement whatsoever.
Oh, so I'm self-funding.
The builder subvention, it's in a way a builder subvention.
Okay.
He's saying 5% you pay now, 95% pay at the time of possession. There is no document to be signed with the lender.
Okay.
So worst comes to worst, if the market cracks 5%, 10%, the buyer will say, I'll walk out of the deal.
Sure.
But there is no sword hanging that a loan has been disbursed. So home loans, I think this process has got more and more sharper. But I'm noticing one improvisation that builders have done is, because regulations don't permit subvention to a large degree from many areas, is that they do this scheme sort of pre-EMI. You buy a home now, no pre-EMI to be paid until a particular day, where the builder is saying, I will mark up the price for you. 1 crore home becomes 1 crore 10 lakhs. That 10 lakhs ka thing, I will keep paying it on your behalf to the lender for the next 2 years. Okay. There again, these are tricky bets. The only time you should be buying a home is when it's a straightforward home loan deal. Any home loan deal that sounds too good to be true is probably not true.
Yeah. So folks, there you go. That is a very simple take on home loans when you're buying. Please don't go for complicated structures. If you do, then make sure that you're at least on top of the deal and you get a good deal out of it, because believe me, the interest is going to be on you. The EMI is going to be on you, and only you will be paying that. If I've understood it.
Absolutely.
And
the ball is at your feet.
Yeah.
Don't think that the developer. See, I'm just slightly digressing. Most builders can't manage their own operation properly. It's foolish for you to believe they will manage your operations well.
Yeah. And it's your money, folks. So you better be careful that you've read each and every clause of the home loan agreement, which is quite massive, I think, and you've understood it and it works for your finances. And that is a wrap on this episode of Mind Your Karza.